Hey guys! Welcome to Whispers of Turkish Stars. All the details are in our video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share before we dive in. Thank you so much. Hazal Sabesai, one of the brightest names of her generation, has found herself at the center of fresh whispers, and this time the murmur began with a friend's quiet confession. Words from Beril, a longtime confidant known for her loyalty on and off the set, have stirred the backstage air. In a private chat with people she trusts, Beril let slip a series of remarks about what Hazal has really been carrying behind her composed smile, and how the chapter with Erkan left marks she took time to name. According to those present, Beril spoke gently but without varnish, describing how Hazal often shelved her own joy to keep the peace. She allegedly said, Hazal kept postponing herself. That journey with Erkan was more draining than anyone outside could see. Family tensions, outside pressure, expectations stacked on expectations, it left her gasping for room. Beril also suggested that Hazal has finally stepped into a quieter rhythm, choosing boundaries where she once shouldered burdens. The hint wasn't bitterness, it was relief, the sense of a woman who had decided that protecting her center mattered more than pleasing every voice around her. Those close to Hazal say the shift is real. Even in the middle of a packed filming calendar, she's leaning into simpler routines and steadying rituals. The photos she's been posting, nothing flashy, just warm light, uncluttered frames, the sheen of ordinary days, have been read by fans as a sign of peace returning. And while Beril's comments swirl through sound stages and stylists' chairs, Hazal herself hasn't said a word. The silence, however, speaks loudly. A refusal to narrate her private life to feed speculation, and perhaps a promise to herself that not every ache needs an audience. As these whispers travel, the absence of a formal statement from either side keeps the intrigue alive. People who once watched Hazal and Erkan as a screen-made dream now ask if there was more storm than the public glimpsed. The pair never issued a crystal-clear declaration about where they stand, which only invites louder questions. Was there a slow fade? Was there a single breaking point? Or did they simply outgrow the version of each other that once fit? In the eyes of the entertainment world, that silence is a cliffhanger, and every day it remains unbroken, interest rises. The thread that most startled listeners in Beril's recounting was her description of the final stretch. She painted a picture of Hazal doing more mending than living, stepping in to patch every crack before it widened, carrying a role that left no room to breathe. One line, reported by multiple ears, cut especially deep. She felt like she had to hold it all together. Expectations multiplied, tension never left, and now she looks back and admits, I'm relieved I walked out of that atmosphere. It was not the voice of someone angry, it was the voice of someone who finally named what hurt and then let it go. Observers say the last few weeks revealed a new chapter in motion. In interviews about work, Hazal steers away from anything private, but those who sit with her between takes see the gentler cadence in her days. There are long breakfasts with family, quiet evenings with close friends, and a deliberate step back from the buzz that used to hover around her phone. She refers to this stretch as a reset, a time to refill rather than prove. The energy on her social feed has shifted to natural light, unguarded smiles, and captions that sound like deep breaths. Fans have flooded the comments with versions of the same note, something about her feels lighter. Meanwhile, mention of Erkan draws its own kind of hush. Every outlet awaits his response, yet none comes. Whether the reserve is strategic or simply the choice of a man who prefers to let the noise pass is open to debate. What's unmistakable is the effect. The quiet from both sides has become the story. Without a joint statement, the gap fills with theories. Some whisper that families disagreed on timelines and boundaries. Others insist the schedules and spotlights pulled them in different directions. And a few say that even the strongest chemistry can, over time, chafe under the pressure to be perfect for the public gaze. Behind the scenes, friends talk about a new beginning for Hazal. It is less about starting over and more about starting inward. She's diving into scripts that challenge her, routines that ground her, and choices that sound like her own voice. Those who have worked with her lately mention a steadier poise on set, still warm, still collaborative, but free of the anxious rush to be indispensable to everyone else. The word renewed has been used more than once, and it fits, a kind of clearing after a storm that wasn't loud but was relentless. Beril's remarks, of course, added a flare to the fire. Whether you see them as courageous honesty or unguarded intimacy, they turned private murmurs into a public pulse. What lingers is the image of two people who once tried to meet in the middle while everything around them demanded perfect symmetry. The imbalance crept in, as it often does, not through grand betrayals but through the steady accumulation of expectations, familial opinions, relentless schedules, fans' projections, and the unspoken demand that love should always look effortless. In that maze, one person becomes the fixer, the smoother, the one who speaks calm into every room, until there's nothing left to soothe inside. Those who know Hazal well say she's determined not to narrate the past in a way that wounds anyone, especially Erkan. She is said to carry respect for what they shared, even as she chooses a quieter road now. Friends describe gentle evenings where she listens more than she speaks and laughs at small things. There's talk of new roles, new directors, and a renewed curiosity about craft. And there is talk, too, of stillness, of Saturday mornings unplanned, of reclaiming time once burned in the name of seeming flawless. It sounds like tenderness offered to oneself, and it shows. Speculation keeps turning back to one question: will either of them break the silence? Eyes drift to Erkan, then to Hazal, then to the small circle that keeps their trust. Perhaps no statement is coming. Perhaps, for once, a story ends quietly, with two people walking away from a noise that gave them less than it took. Or perhaps a future day will bring clarity, a measured message that honors what was without reigniting what should rest. Until then, the industry watches, the headlines refresh, and the only clear thing is the texture of Hazal's present, focused, careful, brighter at the edges. This brings us to the heart of what Beril reportedly voiced in that private conversation. The truth that even the most resilient souls can tire of carrying the weight of everyone's hopes. She portrayed Hazal as someone who fought hard to keep love steady, who reached out again and again to bridge distances made by time, stress, and well-meaning relatives. Over the final year, the strain grew, emotions frayed, misunderstandings lingered longer than apologies. In that stretch, Hazal began asking herself questions that only she could answer. Where am I in all of this? What does peace cost? And what am I allowed to keep for myself? The answer, it seems, is the season we are witnessing now. A phase where she is choosing work that mirrors her values and friendships that hold her gently. She is said to be preparing for new projects with a calm fierceness, giving herself room to say no when no is the honest word. Her circle of support has rallied directors, colleagues, and friends who admire how she's drawing lines without drawing swords. Beril's presence in that circle is felt as steady encouragement rather than provocation. Despite the headlines, those close to them insist the intention was never to inflame but to validate a friend's private courage. And still, the curiosity about Erkan remains. He is a figure who rarely spills into public commentary, and that restraint is now a canvas for every guess. Some argue that silence can be kindness. Others frame it as distance. Either way, the quiet has become part of the narrative. Two artists, once intertwined, now tending to their separate gardens. Whether those paths will cross again is a story for another time, if it ever arrives. For now, the most honest thing to say is that both seem committed to their work and their boundaries, and that might be the first layer of healing for everyone involved. As we watch this unfold, the conversation around Hazal has shifted from spectacle to empathy. The glow people see in her recent appearances isn't a performance. It looks like a person exhaling after holding her breath for too long. The fans who have followed her from early roles to this moment sense it, and their messages reflect a different kind of fandom, not the hunger for scandal, but the hope that she keeps choosing the life that fits. If the last year taught her anything, it may be that love can be real and still not be right for who you're becoming. And that walking away from an old shape can be the bravest way to make room for the next one. With that, we arrive at the same final note that started these murmurs. Beril Posum's candid words lit a path to understanding, but the real story is what Hazal is quietly doing now. She is choosing the small, the steady, the true. The cameras will continue to look for definitive sentences, but the meaning is in the mornings, the work, the laughter, the boundaries. Whether or not we ever receive a formal statement from Hazal Subasai or Erkan Merrick, the contours of this moment are clear enough. It is a new beginning shaped not by declarations, but by the unmistakable calm of a woman who decided to be on her own side. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Whispers of Turkish Stars and share it with friends. See you in the next one.